So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I thank you for coming and spending the time with us. My name is Tim Cole, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Rockwell Medical and Head of Commercial Strategy. So I'll be sharing with you about Rockwell Medical today and take you through our company and what we're all about. And again, it's a very good pleasure to be here, and we hope that what we share with you is of interest and that you'll consider joining us on this journey. So welcome. Here are our forward-looking statements. So who is Rockwell? Well, we are a biopharmaceutical company with products in development, but we're a bit unique. We also have a revenue-generating core business, and that business is in life-saving dialysis products. We'll talk a little bit about that business and what we're doing to grow it and make it healthier. But really, we're focused on our development pipeline with our proprietary product, ferric pyrophosphate citrate. And I have with me Dr. Mark Hoffman, who's our Chief Medical Officer, who's going to take you through that and our opportunities for developing that compound. But really our focus as a company is to improve patient lives through the products that we bring to market and bring value to those markets. We're focused particularly on areas of unmet need and diseases that may be overlooked by the current standard of care, where there are gaps in care and where patients aren't getting the treatment that they need. So I think you'll see that our strategy is well aligned with this. So as I mentioned, our proprietary drug compound is ferric pyrophosphate citrate, or FPC. So this is a parenteral iron product. So it's an intravenous iron, it's infused, but it's different than the current intravenous iron products that are available on the market because of its mechanism of action. So essentially when it enters the bloodstream, the iron is 100% immediately bioavailable for body processes. And that's unique, even in the presence of inflammation. So Dr. Hoffman will explain why that's important and why we believe that makes this drug suitable for certain disease states and really is a pipeline and a product when we look at all the opportunities ahead of it. We have an established dialysis business. Our products are dialysis concentrates. So this is bicarbonate and acid concentrates that are used. They're the building blocks, the fundamental components of dialysis. These are life-saving products. We're the second largest provider of these products in the U.S. It generates about $60 million in revenue annually for us. That's the legacy business of Rockwell. So this is the sort of the bedrock on which we're building the company and our development pipeline with FPC. We have partnerships with major dialysis corporations, providers, and we'll talk a little bit through that business and what we're doing with it. And Triferic. So Triferic is the first branded product which is FDA approved based on the FPC compound. And that's approved in the United States for use in dialysis patients, and so that's also part of our dialysis profile. So we'll walk you through that business and what it means to the company. Our growth opportunities are across these two areas. So we have growth opportunities in our dialysis business, which we'll walk you through. We have international partnerships to market Triferic in markets outside of the U.S. to commercialize it. And we have a development program which we've initiated for FPC in the home infusion space. So this is an area we'd particularly like to highlight for you today. Home infusion is sort of the fastest area of medicine that maybe you haven't heard of or haven't thought about. Due to the pandemic, healthcare is moving to the home. And it's not just hospital care or after hospital care. It's also patients with chronic disease that need regular infusions. And that area of medicine is rapidly expanding. And we're designing FPC for application in that space to take advantage of that, but also treat an unmet medical need there. And we have a pipeline based on FPC that we'll share with you as well. This is a snapshot of our pipeline, and you can see the commercialized products that we have in dialysis, but also our international partnerships. So we've partnered with significant pharmaceutical companies around the world to market Triferic, where we believe we have opportunity to grow. Includes Korea, Canada, China, India, and Turkey for the time being, and we're expanding that. So those partnerships are progressing, and we'll show you some of the near-term milestones at the end of the presentation. And then you can see our development project, which is FPC for the treatment of iron deficiency anemia in the home infusion space, and our pipeline opportunity, which is extremely unique, which is FPC for treatment of iron deficiency in acute heart failure patients. It's a different reason to treat iron deficiency. It's for cardiac muscle energetics. So Dr. Hoffman again will walk you through that. I want to mention our management team. Most of the people that you see here on the screen have been with Rockwell for 24 months or less. We're a relatively new team, although the company's been around for a couple decades. And we've been brought on to really transform this company, and we've repositioned Rockwell to be a a biopharmaceutical development company with that competency, which we've built our programs that you'll see today. I'll point out specifically our chairman, CEO Russell Ellison, who has been 30 plus years in this space with vast experience in large companies developing biopharmaceutical products in early stages, as well as Dr. Hoffman, who has extensive biopharmaceutical development experience and worked for contract research organizations, so he knows the process inside and out. So without any further noise from me, I'll introduce you to Dr. Hoffman. He's going to take you through this compound, which has amazing properties and incredible application potential, ferric pyrophosphate citrate, and how we're going to develop this for our future indications. So, Mark?
Good stuff. Thanks, Tim. So you may be wondering, what's all the fuss about iron? Well, you might be interested to know that iron deficiency is the #1 nutritional deficiency in the world. There's over 10 million people in the United States with iron deficiency, and about half of them suffer from iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency anemia is a significant comorbidity in a number of disease states, and most people are aware of iron deficiency when you hear about people feeling a little lethargic, but that's really the early stages of this. It can lead to serious disease states. It can affect your immune system, it can affect other organ systems, and lead to other disease states in and of themselves. In terms of the complications of this, again, there are heart conditions, and we'll talk a little bit about that with one of our future indications. Right now, the treatment options for iron deficiency in the mild state is oral iron, but not everybody tolerates oral iron. Sometimes it's poorly absorbed, other times people just don't tolerate it well and there are bad side effects. So that pushes us naturally into an area of iron deficiency where we need IV iron. And IV iron, although Tim mentioned that ferric pyrophosphate citrate is an IV iron, it's a very different IV iron, because the problems with the current IV irons are that they require you to go into the hospital or to an infusion clinic and have an infusion, which is obviously very inconvenient. And if you are a patient who is on home therapy, it's sort of contraindicated or counterintuitive that you're able to get all of your therapy at home, but still have to go somewhere else to get your iron. In addition, with a number of the IV irons, there are serious concerns about side effects, and also with the large doses of IV iron that are administered, a lot of this goes into the liver. And you've heard Tim mention on a number of occasions, and we will talk about this several times throughout the presentation, that the fact that ferric pyrophosphate citrate is immediately bioavailable is a unique and distinct attribute of the molecule. So what makes it unique? First of all, it's given slowly. It's a kinder, gentler IV iron, as opposed to getting large doses that are often deposited in the liver, and it's a double-edged sword when it's deposited in the liver, because when it's deposited in the liver, that adds to inflammation. When you have inflammation, there are proteins in the body called hepcidin that go up that then further prevent you from releasing it from the liver. When you have ferric pyrophosphate citrate, that is taken up immediately by a transfer protein, and I won't get into the nitty-gritty part of this, but it's taken up by a transfer protein that takes it immediately to the end organ or the tissues that need it most. Most importantly, everybody knows that iron is required for the formation of blood cells, but it is also required for cardiac and other energetic processes. It's a very important part of your immune system, and the ability to get the iron immediately into these tissues is a critical attribute of this. In addition, we use the ferric pyrophosphate citrate as a novel mechanism. It has a novel mechanism in that it is able to get to the end organs immediately. So the differences here are what makes this unique, and the ability to position it in areas where there is an unmet need is the focus of our platform. As Tim mentioned, currently We are approved in the use for dialysis. Our pipeline indication is in heart failure, and we'll talk about that later in the presentation. And the one that is coming up next, and actually the most exciting for right now, is the use in home infusion, and we'll talk about that. So our project plan for iron deficiency and home infusion is to be able to give this to patients that are getting therapy, chronic therapy at home. This product will be, while it comes out of the ferric pyrophosphate citrate platform, will be a unique and distinct presentation and preparation of FPC. So it will be clearly differentiated from the other products, but utilizing all the attributes that have made the product what it is today. We have already been in communication with the FDA, so we know that we have a green light for a 505(b)(1) pathway. And what that means is this would be a novel NDA, so the product would be, again, further differentiated. The product would have a unique J-code, and this would allow us to get reimbursement and preferential pricing. So what is home infusion? Okay. Well, first of all, it's not dialysis, and it's an important distinction. Okay. It is the provision of IV therapy generally to chronic patients, but sometimes not. Chronic is a relative term, treatment at home. This allows patients to get their therapies at home, and as Tim mentioned, there's been a number of factors that have pushed patients back to the home. Oops, sorry. So, iron deficiency at home is a common comorbidity. And on the next slide, we'll take you through this. But part of the problem with chronic patients at home is you're somewhat out of sight and out of mind. Okay, you are seconded to home therapy by your physician with a treatment. And again, we'll talk about some of these, what are some of the larger treatment categories in just a moment. But once you're there, you're under the care of home health care, and there is a routine follow-up. And again, we'll talk in just a moment about the sort of vicious cycle that is home therapy and iron deficiency anemia. And it is, in fact, it's a broken process. Now, it's interesting if you think about, for those of you even that are not scientists, what would be the obvious treatment for iron deficiency? Iron, okay? But yet, this process remains broken because the patients are not being seen with great regularity. So what you need is a product that is safe for home infusion, and this is where FPC has a significant opportunity. So this is the broken process that I was referring to. So a patient has iron deficiency anemia. The intervention is delayed, again, because you're home. You're not getting your routine checkups, bloods, etc. Okay? It gets to a point where you now need a significant amount of iron, and in really severe cases, transfusion. Transfusions come with a whole host of their own complications and problems. Okay? You get your iron or your transfusion. You then slip back into that space in the home setting where the follow-up is inconsistent. Iron deficiency recurs, and the process starts all over again. So, what makes us different? Well, first of all, we believe that FPC is, because it's suited for slow infusion and safe to use at home, we believe it is safe to use at home, and that is something that we'll be testing, is it will be uniquely suited to treat these patients. First of all, in clinical trials with FPC, as well as in over 1.5 million doses given in hemodialysis patients, we've not had serious adverse events. Inflammation is a significant concern, as I mentioned, with iron deposed in the liver, and because FPC gets directly to the tissues, it does not contribute to inflammation. Many of your patients at home are already inflamed. As I mentioned, these patients will oftentimes require an infusion clinic or a hospital visit to get in and get your iron. And then there's often low success rates with these patients. Now, with FPC, as I said, we have an established safety profile. something that we've mentioned many times, but say it again, okay, it is immediately bioavailable, okay? So this is going to work immediately upon administration, okay? And the bioavailability is not impacted by inflammation. Number one, it's not blocked by inflammation. Number two, it doesn't contribute further to inflammation. And last but not least, at regular low doses, we believe that not only could this treat iron deficiency anemia, but with greater disease awareness, we could see that there would be a time where patients would be put on this prophylactically, knowing that 40 to 60% of the patients at any time have iron deficiency anemia, that there would be a vision for a prophylactic regimen for all patients in this space. Tim mentioned that the home infusion market has exploded. So you'll see it's grown by 3x in the last decade. And there's a number of factors that have contributed to that growth. So hospital costs, the cost of care in the home is significantly less. There's greater technology. The ability to deliver medications and monitor therapies at home has grown dramatically in the last decade. We have an aging demographic. COVID has been a boon for home infusion because now patients don't have to go into the hospital or to a clinic where they're exposed to other people and risk infection. And there's also favorable reimbursement, and continuously we're seeing additional legislation promoting the growth and the use of home health care. So some of the benefits of home health care, as you can see, is increased quality of life because patients are in the comfort of their own home. There is a decreased burden on health resources. So health resources that are not being consumed in the hospital can now go to other and higher priority tasks while patients can be seen in the home. And then as far as the iron deficiency, as I said, you have less depression and fatigue and less the risk of hospital infections. These are some of the largest categories where the home infusion patient population is at risk. Home parenteral nutrition will actually be the focal area of our pivotal phase 2 study that's coming up, but you'll see that there is a significant number of patients. And again, these are the top 6 categories that are captured and that appear frequently in the literature, and the rate of iron deficiency or the risk of iron deficiency anemia in the second column. We estimate that the addressable market for this is around $600 million, and that's a U.S. number. So let me hand it back over to Tim to talk a little bit about our dialysis.
Thanks, Mark. So you've heard about our home infusion opportunity with FPC. I do want to highlight what's going on with our dialysis business as well for you. So we do have a strong presence in the hemodialysis market, and particularly with our concentrates business and also with FPC as Triferic. As I mentioned, we're the number 2 supplier of dialysis concentrates in the U.S. That means we supply about almost 30% of the market with these products. So the dialysis community really depends on us as a key supplier. And we deliver about 20 million life-saving treatments a year. And we're very proud of this business. It's a legacy business for Rockwell. We are top in customer service in this business, and we had no supply interruptions during the entire COVID period. This is something we're very proud of. Our key customers include DaVita, who you may have heard of, the largest dialysis provider in the country, and we have distribution agreements with other large renal players such as Baxter and Nipro. And you can see on the right side, this market's about 500,000 patients, hemodialysis patients that are treated in center every year, and it's a consolidated market from a provider standpoint. Those 2 big sections are the large dialysis organizations. 2/3 of patients are controlled by 2 dialysis providers, DaVita 1/3 and Fresenius Medical Care the other. And I mention this because it can be a bit of a hostile environment for new products and innovations because of that reason, and I'll go into that in a minute. We do have opportunities for growth in this concentrates business. Number one, we've recently updated our customer agreements. We have some public announcements related to this. Because we're a critical part of dialysis in this country, we've partnered with major customers to ensure the health of our business going forward. We were hit fairly hard during the pandemic with supply chain issues and cost increases, and our customers have come to the table with us to revise agreements to make sure that we're a sustainable provider in this area and moving towards profitability. We have geographic expansion opportunities in this market with this product line. We also have opportunities to improve our supply chain, manufacturing efficiencies to create more profit in the business. And we have excess capacity where we feel we can increase revenue and grow, as well as contract manufacturing opportunities we're looking at. Thank you. I'll mention FPC, that's FDA approved in dialysis, called Triferic. This is a well-suited product, iron product for this space. It has competitive advantages because it can be given at every dialysis treatment and slowly, and it can maintain hemoglobin in these patients. Also reduce the cost of anemia drugs. We've shown this in real-world data. But as I mentioned, adoption of this product has been limited, and it's been limited in the space due to a few factors. One, the consolidated provider base. They have large, long-standing contracts with iron producers that are our competitors. Secondly, the capitated reimbursement. So when you're on dialysis, you move to Medicare as your reimbursement, as your payer, regardless of your age. And that model for reimbursement is capitated, all drug services and supplies within that. It's very difficult for innovative products to come in that are in that bundle to make a penetration. So we've shifted our commercial strategy with that product, and now we're looking for a commercial partner that has more of the horsepower in the dialysis market to be able to move the product and create adoption. But we have established some very important things with that approval, safety and efficacy in a real population, a sick population, with this drug. And so that gives us a leg up for the development programs that Dr. Hoffman's walked you through. And we have growth potential in international markets as well. So I'll give it over to Mark to talk about our pipeline opportunity, and we'll wrap it up.
Great. Thanks. So as I had mentioned with our home infusion opportunity, this is a little bit further behind in the pipeline, but this would also be a newly formulated product. It would be a novel presentation. We believe that it would be a 505(b)(1) approval as well, although we've not yet had formal communication with the FDA. But it would also have the same attributes as the home infusion in that it would have a unique J-code for reimbursement and differentiated pricing. So why heart failure? Well, there's over 1 million hospitalizations a year. And what we're talking about is we're talking about FPC in the hospitalized patient. So a 180 shift from what we were talking about in home infusion. And it really shows some of the versatility of the product. Because once again, we're talking about a severely inflamed population, a population where 50 to 70% of the patients have iron deficiency. And an important distinction here is we're now talking about iron deficiency, not iron deficiency anemia. This is not a treatment for anemia. This is a treatment for cardiac energetics to improve the energy in the heart muscle, which is critical in a congestive heart failure situation. We believe it is uniquely suited for this because, as we've mentioned a number of times, it's immediately bioavailable, so it gives the heart a jump start immediately. There's a number of articles written out there that say that a failing heart is a little bit like an engine out of fuel, and we've got some high-test fuel. Our next step on this program is that we will have a pre-IND meeting for this product sometime in the fourth quarter of 2022, and at that time we will present our development plan with our strategy and our endpoints. Meeting the cardiac energetic needs will be how we will demonstrate this, but we will also be able to demonstrate, hopefully, that there will be improvements in form and function as a result of that. So, take us home, Tim.
Great, thanks. So just a snapshot to wrap us up here on our portfolio again and upcoming milestones. You'll see that we have many near-term milestones associated with the portfolio and our activities. Number one is our concentrates business. We predict significant growth in this business for 2022. As it relates to Triferic, we're focused on our international partnerships. And you can see milestones in each one of our partnerships towards drug approval. In Korea, we expect commercial launch in the near term. Turkey, drug approval. I'll draw your attention to China, where we have a phase 3 study underway. We expect to be able to announce last patient in the near term. And in India, a phase 3 study start. For our FPC in home infusion indication, we expect the phase 2 study to start before the end of this half to be able to announce that's a near-term milestone for us. And for our pipeline initiative in acute heart failure, a meeting with the FDA, a pre-IND meeting with the FDA before the end of the year. We believe this will create positive news flow for Rockwell. We're excited about the portfolio that we have, the changes that we've made driving us towards the success in the future, and we really hope that you will consider joining us on this journey. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll look forward to meeting with you afterwards.
Is your iron compound patented, or the process to make it patented?
Yes, it's patented. We have several patents that are active in the U.S. as well as in 20 other different countries. We have intellectual property on FPC.
Created in the lab?
Yes, it's created in the lab. It's created overseas. It's a unique process. It's quite a nuanced process, actually, which is very difficult to replicate, and a quite well protected compound. Appreciate that question. Others? Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.